People remember moments. They don't necessarily remember headlines and leads to stories. My grandmother, who raised me, she was like, photography is okay, but how many Black female photographers do you know? And I'm like, not many, that's the point. When I got the call to become a photo editor for the Dallas Morning News, I was thrilled. I wanted to be a photo editor because I wanted to have a little bit more control and say over what images were being used. So I'm working at the night desk in Dallas, and it's August 2005. I'm looking at the warnings on TV, and I called my boss, William Snyder, and I said, I know we have a plan for Katrina, but I think it's going to be bigger than we expected, and I think we should send someone sooner. And he said, you're on the desk, make a decision. And I'm like, I've been here for 2 months. I don't want to mess this up, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I'm like, okay, I made a decision. I went down the list and called the photographers. Erwin Thompson, we call him IT. He was the first one that said yes. And then we got the first image, that roof photo, which is something we normally see when it's a storm. My responsibility was to look at the wire every day and see what was going on.
At least one levee has broken in New Orleans.
The pictures started to shift very quickly from floods with water to the roofs to just the rawness of destruction. And then you start to see death. I remember Erwin calling, talking about seeing an older African-American woman on the bridge. Her body was covered. He said she could have been my grandmother. I remember just listening. I mean, what else could I do? There were many nights at the end of the day where I'm just sitting there. And there are so many pictures that people will never see. When I would get off work, I'd sit on the balcony drinking a beer, and I would just listen to the sounds of my neighborhood. I just kept thinking, if this had happened in Beverly Hills, would this suffering have lasted that long? Not only am I devastated with what I'm seeing, but I'm becoming angry. AP had a Black youth wading through the water with a 12-pack of Pepsi, and he was looting. AFP had a caption of an Anglo woman. She was pulling a loaf of bread, and she was finding food. And so I'm in the newsroom, and I'm pissed, because this is where captions are really important. August 31st, 2005, New Orleans, Louisiana. Police searched a man accused of looting on Interstate 10. They found beer in his bag. And we published that photo. Erwin wanted to illustrate that not everybody was looting. He's like, I'm not seeing that. There's this one man coming out of a store, and he's carrying one shirt. Erwin says, why do you only have one shirt? And the man said, I only needed one. And we published that photo as well. Months later, we're gathered in a room to decide on the Pulitzer Prize entry for breaking news. We're taking things out, we're moving things around, we're debating. William is fixated on this photo of a heavyset African-American man on a roof, and he's missing a leg and he has a crutch. And he's like, how did this guy get on this roof, and who helped him? And we need this photo in the entry. But then when you look at all the other photos and the aerials, there was this one that stood out for me. Smiley Pool took an aerial photo. There's a young woman waving the American flag. She's near the top of the photo. And there's another American flag. It's laying down. You think about gathering your prized possessions during a hurricane. An American flag may not be on the top of that list. There's some spray paint that says, please help, and they don't have the E at the end of please. I don't know if they ran out of spray paint, trying to get everything that they could out there. I just remember seeing the person wave the flag, and I was like, that's the shot. all that anger that I felt, all that frustration that I felt, it came out during that meeting. And I was like, this is exactly what this is all about. When I was done, he was quiet. And it made it into the entry. I can say that I was super proud when we won. The resolve, I don't know that I had any about what was happening with Katrina. I was just happy to be there for the photographers and contribute whatever I could.